The planet Core 7 was dry and dusty. It had little water and almost no trees. The sky was always gray. This world had become a battlefield for 5 years. Humans and the alien race called the Zyrene had been fighting here. The war was long and hard. Many soldiers had died on both sides. Tom was a human soldier. He was strong but calm. He did not speak much, but when he did, his words showed wisdom. He had fought in many battles and had saved many lives. Now, he was in charge of a small group defending a base on Core 7. The base was surrounded by high metal walls and armed with weapons, but they were few. They had no chance against the huge Zyrene army. One morning, Tom stood on the top of the wall. He looked out across the desert. The Zyrene soldiers were coming. Their armor was dark and shining. They moved quickly and with purpose. Their war machines stomped on the sand, making the ground shake. Tom could see their leader riding a large creature that looked like a mix of a dragon and a horse. The Zyrene leader wore a helmet with glowing eyes, and everyone called him the war commander. Tom called out to his soldiers, "Get ready. They will attack soon. Hold your positions." The soldiers checked their weapons and looked at Tom. They trusted him. The sun rose higher. The wind blew dust around. Then, the first shots were fired. Laser beams flashed across the sky. Explosions shook the ground. The humans fired back from the walls. They aimed carefully because they had few bullets. Some Zyrene fell, but many kept coming. Tom fought in the middle of the battle. He moved fast and with skill. He helped his friends, gave orders, and saved the wounded soldier. The fight was fierce and loud. The humans were brave but outnumbered. Suddenly, a loud sound came from above. All fighting stopped for a moment. Everyone looked up. A large ship appeared in the sky. It was the Zyrene flagship. It was bigger than any ship Tom had ever seen. It was shaped like a giant wing with lights along its sides. A message came through on all radios. It was from the Zyrene Queen, Arali. Her voice was calm but strong. "Human soldiers, I am Queen Arali of the Zyrene. I offer peace, but I wish to speak only to one of you, a soldier named Tom. Send him to me. No weapons, no tricks." Tom was surprised. No one had expected this. The war commander looked angry but did not stop the message. The battle stopped completely. The human leaders gathered in the command tent. They talked about the message. Some said it was a trick. Others said it might be a chance to end the war. Tom listened quietly. The leaders decided to send Tom alone to meet the queen. Tom felt nervous, but ready. He took only his standard armor and no weapons. He walked to the landing pad where a small shuttle waited. His friend Mira, a soldier who fought beside him, came to say goodbye. "Be careful, Tom," Mira said. "We all hope this ends soon." Tom nodded. "I will do my best." The shuttle flew up quickly and docked with the big Zyrene ship inside. Tom was led through long, bright corridors. The walls were smooth and cold. The Zyrene soldiers watched him carefully but did not stop him. Finally, Tom reached a large room. The doors opened slowly. There, sitting on a high throne, was Queen Arali. She was tall and elegant. Her skin was a pale blue color, and her eyes were dark and sharp. Her hair was long and black. She wore a silver dress that looked like it was made of light. "Welcome, Tom," she said softly. "I know this war has caused pain on both sides. I want to stop the fighting, but I need your help." Tom looked at her. "What kind of help do you want?" Arali took a deep breath. "I want peace between our people, but my rule is not strong. Many in my court want to continue the war. They say I am weak. They say I should destroy your kind. To show my strength, I want to marry a human soldier, a strong warrior who can stand beside me." Tom felt shocked. He had never heard such a thing. Marry an alien queen. It sounded strange and dangerous. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you are brave, wise, and respected by your people. If you agree, it will unite our worlds. If you refuse, the war will continue," Arali said firmly. Tom thought about the soldiers back home, about the families waiting for peace. He thought about the long years of fighting and loss. "Can I have time to think?" he asked. Of course, O'Reilly replied. But not much. I need your answer. Soon, Tom left the throne room and returned to his shuttle. The ride back to the base was quiet. He looked out at the stars and thought about what the Queen had said. This decision was heavy on his shoulders. It was not only about him, but about two worlds. Back at the base, Tom called a meeting. The Queen offers peace, he said. But she wants me to marry her to make it happen. The soldiers were silent. Mira looked at Tom with concern. Do you believe her? I do not know, Tom said honestly. But this might be our only chance. The human leaders would soon decide. Tom knew that whatever happened next would change the future forever. After the meeting at the human base, the leaders gathered in a large room to discuss the Queen's offer. Tom sat quietly, waiting for the decision. Some commanders looked angry. Others seemed tired from the long war and wanted peace. One commander named Sam spoke first. This offer could be a trap. The Queen might want to capture Tom and use him against us. Another leader, Lena, shook her head. But we have no choice. The war has cost too many lives. If marrying the Queen brings peace, we must consider it. Tom listened carefully. The room was full of tension. Everyone understood the risk. If they said no, the fighting would continue. If they said yes, they might lose one of their own in a strange alliance. That night, Tom sat alone outside the base. The stars shone bright above. He thought about the Queen, O'Reilly. She was powerful and wise, but also a stranger from a different world. He wondered if he could trust her. His friend Mira joined him. Tom, this is not just about you. It is about all of us, she said softly. Sometimes peace requires courage. Tom nodded. I want peace, Mira. But I do not know if I am ready to marry the Queen. What if this is a trick? Mira smiled gently. You will know when you meet her. You must judge for yourself. The next day, Tom was taken back to the Zyrene flagship. This time, the atmosphere was different. The corridors were quiet, and the soldiers seemed less hostile. When Tom entered the throne room, Queen O'Reilly stood to greet him. She smiled warmly. You have courage to return. I respect that. Tom bowed slightly. I am here to listen. O'Reilly motioned for him to sit. Let me explain why this marriage is important. On Zyrene homeworld, many clans fight for power. They believe war is the only way to keep strength. I want to change that. I want to lead us into a future without war. She looked at Tom with steady eyes. But my enemies say I am weak because I wish to make peace with humans. They want to overthrow me. If I marry a human warrior, it will prove my strength and unite the clans. Tom thought about her words. So, this marriage is political. Yes, O'Reilly replied. But it can be more. It can be a bridge between our peoples, a sign that we can trust each other. Tom asked, what will this marriage mean for me? What will I lose or gain? O'Reilly smiled softly. You will be respected as a leader of both worlds. You will help guide the future. You will not be forced to change who you are. This is a partnership. Tom felt a strange calm. Her words were honest. He had not expected that. Can I meet others in your court? I want to understand more, Tom said. O'Reilly nodded. Of course. But beware, not all will welcome you. Over the next days, Tom met many Zyrene leaders. Some were polite, others cold. One advisor named Kareth was especially harsh. He warned Tom that the Queen's plan was dangerous and would cause war within their own people. Tom asked O'Reilly about Kareth. She said, he is loyal to tradition. He fears change. But I will protect this peace. Tom saw that the Queen was strong, but the path ahead would be difficult. One evening, O'Reilly invited Tom to a quiet garden inside the ship. The plants were strange but beautiful, glowing softly in the dark. They sat by a small pool of water. Tom, I know this is hard for you, she said, but I believe in you. Together, we can end this war. Tom looked at her. I want to believe. That too. O'Reilly reached out her hand. Will you consider my offer seriously? Tom took her hand and nodded. I will. Before Tom left, O'Reilly said, you have time to think. But remember, this decision will change everything. Back on the human ship, Tom reported to his leaders. Some wanted him to refuse. Others urged him to accept. Tom knew the choice was his. Mira visited him again. You carry the hope of many. She said, do not be afraid. Tom looked out at the stars and whispered, I hope I can do what is right. The days passed slowly at the human base on Core 7. Tom's decision weighed heavily on his mind. The Queen's offer was unlike anything he had ever faced. Marrying an alien queen to end a war was a choice that affected not just him, but all humans and Zyrene alike. The human leaders called several meetings. Some commanders wanted Tom to reject the offer and prepare for battle. Others believed that peace was worth the risk. Tom tried to listen to all opinions and weigh the options carefully. One afternoon, Tom met with Mira. She was a brave soldier and his closest friend. They sat together near the base's small garden. It was one of the few green spots left on Core 7. Mira, Tom said quietly, I feel torn. If I accept, I might bring peace. But I could lose the respect of many humans if I refuse. The war will continue, and more will die. Mira looked at him kindly. Sometimes, the hardest choices bring the greatest good. Humans have always fought for survival. Now, you might fight for peace. Tom nodded. But what about the Queen? Can I trust her? Mira smiled. Only you can answer that. Meanwhile, far from Core 7, on the Zyrene homeworld, Queen Orali faced her own challenges. Her court was filled with nobles who disagreed with her peaceful plans. Some wanted to continue the war and conquer the humans. Orali sat in her throne room, listening to her advisor Kareth. He was a tall man with cold eyes and a voice that carried authority. Your Majesty, Kareth said, the humans are weak. We should crush them, not marry one of their soldiers. This peace talk will ruin your rule. Orali remained calm. I lead to protect my people, not destroy them. War costs lives. And I want to build a future where we are strong without fighting. Kareth shook his head. You risk everything for a stranger. If you marry a human, many clans will rebel. Orali looked at him firmly. Then I will face those rebels. The marriage will show strength, not weakness. The tension in the court grew. Some nobles whispered in dark corners. Orali knew she must act quickly to keep control. Back on Core 7, Tom received a message from the Queen. She invited him to visit her again. This time, she wanted to introduce him to her closest allies, those who supported peace. Tom agreed and was taken aboard the flagship once more. Inside the great ship, he met several Zyrene leaders. They welcomed him with respect and kindness. These leaders spoke of hope and unity. They wanted the war to end as much as Tom did. One leader, a woman named Sira, explained, the Queen is brave to stand for peace. Many of us want to join hands with humans and build a new world. Tom felt warmth from their words. He realized that not all Zyrene were enemies. Many wished for peace just like humans. During his stay, Tom learned more about Zyrene culture. They had a rich history filled with art, music, and wisdom. Their people were strong, but war had broken their hearts. Tom thought about the future where humans and Zyrene lived side by side, not as enemies, but as friends. When Tom returned to the human base, he shared his experience. Some humans remained doubtful, but many began to hope. That night, Tom and Mira talked again. I believe the Queen wants peace, Tom said, but the road ahead is dangerous. Both our worlds are full of fear and anger. Mira nodded. Trust is a slow process. It will take time. Tom looked at the stars once more. Two very different worlds, connected by hope and courage, he whispered. Maybe this is the start of something new. The news of Queen Orali's marriage offer spread quickly among humans and Zyrene alike. Some were hopeful, but many were nervous. The idea of a human soldier marrying an alien queen was strange and new. It was more than just a wedding. It was a symbol of peace and trust between two very different worlds. At the human base on Core 7, Tom prepared for the important moment. The leaders decided that the wedding would take place in space, on a neutral station orbiting Core 7. Both humans and Zyrene would be there to witness the ceremony. This way, No one could say the marriage was one-sided. Tom trained harder than ever. He wanted to be ready for any danger, although the Queen's offer was peaceful. He knew some people might try to stop it. The war had made many angry and fearful. On the Cyrene side, Queen Orali worked to strengthen her rule. She spoke to her people, telling them that peace was possible if they stood together. Many listened, but others whispered about rebellion. The advisor Kareth continued to oppose her. He believed the marriage would ruin their race. One evening, Orali met with her council. "We must be ready for those who want war," she said. "Our future depends on this union." Her generals nodded. They began planning security for the wedding station. They knew it would be a target for attacks. Back on Core 7, Tom met with his closest friends, including Mira. "This marriage will change everything," Tom said. "I hope we can all trust each other." Mira smiled. "Trust is built step by step. We will face whatever comes together." The day before the ceremony, Tom traveled to the space station. The place was large and bright, floating silently above. The dusty planet, human and Cyrene crews worked side by side to prepare the hall. Tom met Queen Orali again. She looked calm and determined. Her pale blue skin seemed to glow softly under the lights. "Tom," she said, "thank you for coming. This ceremony will show our people that peace is possible." Tom nodded. "I want that too." The leaders from both sides gathered. The tension was strong, but many hoped for a new beginning. Tom and Orali stood together at the center of the hall. The ceremony was simple but meaningful. The marriage was not about love at first. It was a promise to protect and unite. Tom and Orali promised to work for peace and to respect both their peoples. As the ceremony ended, many in the crowd stood and applauded. It was a hopeful moment, but not everyone was happy. Kareth watched from the shadows. He was angry and determined to stop this union. He whispered to his followers, "This marriage is a lie. We will tear it apart." The security teams prepared for any attack. Both humans and Cyrene watched carefully. The future was uncertain, but the marriage had begun a new chapter. Tom and Orali looked at each other. They knew challenges lay ahead, but they were ready to face them together for peace. The space station above Core 7 shone like a beacon of hope. Humans and Cyrene moved carefully through its corridors, preparing for the wedding that could end the long war. Tom stood beside Queen Orali, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. The future of both species rested on this union, but not everyone wished for peace. Deep in the shadows, Kareth gathered a small group of rebels. They whispered plans of sabotage and attack. "This marriage will destroy our people." Kareth said quietly, "We must stop it before it begins." The rebels moved quickly, sneaking into the station's power control room. Their goal was to cause a massive explosion that would destroy the wedding hall and kill the leaders of both worlds. At the same time, human commanders received reports of strange activity on the station's lower decks. Suspicious movements, unexplained power, fluctuations. Tom was informed immediately. He gathered his trusted soldiers, including Mira. "We have enemies here," Tom said firmly. "We must find and stop them." As the wedding ceremony hour approached, tension grew. The guests began to gather, humans and Cyrene dressed in their finest clothes. The hall was filled with quiet hope. Suddenly, alarms blared, red lights flashed. Through the station, an explosion rocked the outer ring, throwing people to the ground. The station's gravity failed in parts, causing chaos. Tom grabbed Mira's arm. "We need to find the Queen and secure the station." They moved through dark, twisting corridors, dodging debris and falling equipment. Smoke filled the air. Some of the rebels trapped still exploded, blocking their path. In the confusion, Tom was separated from Mira. He pressed on alone, searching for Orali. Meanwhile, Orali was trapped in her chambers. The rebels had tried to capture her to end her rule and restart the war. Using her quick mind, she activated old defense systems. Hidden turrets opened fire on the attackers. The rebels were pushed back. Orali ran through secret hallways, avoiding danger. She hoped Tom was safe. Back in the corridors, Tom fought off a group of armed rebels. His training and courage helped him push through. His goal was clear: reach. The Queen. After several tense minutes, Tom and Arali found each other in the main chamber. They were both tired and shaken, but alive. "We must finish the ceremony," Arali said firmly. Tom nodded. For peace. Together, they returned to the wedding hall. The guests had gathered again, some injured but determined. Tom took Arali's hand. "This marriage is more than a ceremony. It is a promise that we will not give in to fear." Arali smiled. "Together, we are stronger." They exchanged vows, short but powerful. The cameras broadcasted the moment to both worlds. The message was clear. Peace was possible, even in the darkest times. As the ceremony ended, soldiers arrested the rebels. Kareth was taken into custody. His plans had failed. The explosion had damaged part of the station, but the wedding hall stood strong. The guests cheered, their hope renewed. Tom and Arali looked around. The danger was not gone, but their union had shown that trust could survive. The future was still uncertain, but now it was filled with promise. The space station slowly recovered from the attack. Repairs began quickly, and the wounds of the sabotage reminded everyone how fragile peace could be. Tom and Queen Arali remained close, their bond growing stronger as they faced new challenges. Together. Both humans and Zyrene watched carefully. Many were still unsure if the marriage was a true sign of peace or just a political trick. But the act itself, completed in the face of danger, gave hope to many. On the Zyrene homeworld, the news of the marriage spread like wildfire. Some clans cheered for the Queen's courage. Others, still loyal to old ways, grumbled and prepared quietly for more conflict. The balance was delicate. Tom spent many hours talking with Zyrene leaders. He listened to their worries and shared human hopes. He knew that trust could not be forced. It had to grow naturally. One day, Mira arrived to join Tom. She had been helping organize the human peacekeepers. "We need to show the Zyrene that we are serious about peace," she said. Tom agreed. "We must build schools, share knowledge, and protect those who want peace." Together, they planned missions to help rebuild damaged villages and create places where humans and Zyrene could learn from each other. Queen Arali watched these efforts closely. She knew that the marriage was only the beginning. To keep peace, they must prove that it was real and lasting. In a special ceremony, Tom was given a new title by the Zyrene, a symbol of his role as ambassador between the two worlds. He accepted it with honor. Meanwhile, the once powerful advisor Kareth was held in a secure prison. His followers had been captured or fled. His threat to the new peace was fading. The humans and Zyrene worked together to form a council. This group had members from both species, tasked with making decisions for their shared future. Tom and Arali attended the first council meeting. They sat side by side, showing unity. The council agreed on many new plans: trade routes, cultural exchanges, joint defense. The old hatred was not gone, but new hope filled the halls. One evening, Tom and Arali walked in a peaceful garden on the station. The stars shone brightly above. They spoke quietly about the journey so far. "I did not expect this," Tom said. "I thought the war would never end." Arali smiled. "Neither did I. But courage and trust can change even the darkest stories." Tom looked at her with respect. "You saved your people. You gave us a chance." Arali nodded. "And you showed your people that humans are more than fighters. You showed them we can be friends." The future was still uncertain, but the union of two worlds was real now. It was a union of survival, hope, and courage. Together, Tom and Arali knew they had started something that could last for generations. Months had passed since the marriage of Tom and Queen Arali. The war that once seemed endless had finally come to an end. The space between humans and Zyrene was no longer filled with fear and fighting, but with hope and new beginnings. Tom found himself living partly on the Zyrene homeworld. The planet was unlike Core 7, full of green forests, wide rivers, and tall cities built with bright metals and glass. Though it was an alien world, Tom felt a connection to it now. He worked closely with the Zyrene to build schools, train peacekeepers, and help repair the damage caused by war. Many humans were still unsure about the changes, But they watched Tom with pride. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a symbol of courage and unity. People saw how he respected Zyrene culture and worked to bring both worlds closer. Queen Orali kept her throne, stronger than ever. Her leadership was tested many times, but the marriage had given her power not just through force, but through respect and trust. She was praised by many for ending the war and building a future of peace. There were still challenges. Some groups on both sides resisted the change. Old wounds took time to heal, and some still held fear and anger deep inside. But the new council, made up of humans and Zyrene, worked tirelessly to solve problems through talks and understanding. One day, Tom visited a school where human and Zyrene children learned together. He watched them play and study side by side. It made him smile. "This is the future," he told Mira, who had joined him. "A future where we are not enemies, but neighbors." Mira nodded. "It will take time, but we are on the right path." Tom and Orali met often to discuss their shared goals, though their marriage was not built on love at first. A deep respect and partnership had grown between them. They trusted each other completely. One evening, under the stars of the Zyrene world, Orali spoke softly to Tom. "You showed my people what it means to be brave, not just in battle, but in peace." Tom smiled. "And you showed my people that we can be more than warriors. We can be friends and allies." Their hands touched gently. It was a simple moment, but full of meaning. Together, they had changed the course of history. The story of Tom and Queen Orali became a legend told on both worlds. A story of how two very different beings came together to end war and build hope. It reminded everyone that peace is not easy, but it is worth fighting for. As new ships traveled between the stars, carrying diplomats, traders, and explorers, Tom and Orali looked to the future with confidence. The war was over. A new age had begun.